With 365 days in a year, it seems unlikely that a beloved celebrity would die near their birthday, but it actually happens more often than you'd think. While her first big role was in 1973's American Graffiti, Suzanne Somers made a huge impression as a television actor. Beginning in 1977, Somers played Chrissy Snow on ABC's boundary-pushing Three's Company. Written off the series after asking to be paid as much as her male co-star John Ritter, a bold move at the time that was also an important moment for pay equality in the industry, Somers struggled to find work in the aftermath. But after putting together a show in Las Vegas, her career was back on track. She later had roles in syndicated TV comedies like She's the Sheriff in the 1980s, before returning to ABC in 1991 with the blended family sitcom Step by Step. That ran until 1998. But Somers was arguably more famous in the 90s for a different TV job, appearing in commercials for the Thigh Master, an exercising gadget for which she later bought the rights and earned an estimated $300 million. In the early 2000s, Somers was diagnosed with a particularly virulent form of breast cancer, which she managed to survive for more than 2 decades. Her family had already been gathered at her home in Los Angeles to celebrate the actor's birthday when she died on October 15, 2023, just a day before she turned 77. A performance artist as much as he was a musician, David Bowie introduced new levels of theatricality to rock music. His work spanned genres too, from glam to dance to pop to disco to industrial to alternative rock.
All right, who's gonna call this sucker?
If nobody has any objections, I believe I might be of service.
Bowie scored his first hit in 1969 with Space Oddity, a synth-laced folk allegory about a lost astronaut. Over the ensuing decades, he would adopt personas and write and perform as those characters, such as alien prophet Ziggy Stardust and the sinister soul lover the Thin White Duke. In the 80s, Bowie entered sophisticated pop star mode and churned out crowd pleasers like Let's Dance and Modern Love. Then he switched things up again, fronting the noise rock band Tin Machine and collaborating with Nine Inch Nails leader Trent Reznor on I'm Afraid of Americans. Bowie figured prominently in the news in January 2016. On January 8th, he released the album Black Star, one of the most heralded records of his long and storied career. That day also happened to be the musician's 69th birthday, and Black Star had served as a farewell. 3 months earlier, Bowie received a terminal cancer diagnosis, which he didn't publicly share. The world only found out that he had cancer when he died on January 10, 2016, 2 days after his final birthday and studio album. In 1944 and 1945, Angela Lansbury appeared in her first 3 films, and she received Academy Award nominations for 2 of them, Gaslight and The Picture of Dorian Gray. About 2 decades later, Lansbury would again be nominated for Best Actress in a Supporting Role for the psychological political thriller The Manchurian Candidate, and in the 90s, she lent her voice to play Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast. Lansbury acted on Broadway as often as she could, starring in productions of The King and I, Gypsy, and Sweeney Todd, earning 6 Tony Awards along the way. However, she is most certainly best known for Murder, She Wrote. From 1984 to 1996, she played mystery writer and expert amateur detective Jessica Fletcher on the hit CBS drama, landing an Emmy nomination for all 12 seasons. Lansbury's children released a joint statement to media outlets confirming that their mother died in her sleep sometime overnight on October 11, 2022. Just 5 more days, and the actor would have marked her 97th birthday. Since the mid-2000s, Ray Stevenson populated the cast of numerous action, science fiction, and fantasy TV series and films. Following several roles on European television, the Northern Irish actor played martyring knight Dagonet in the 2004 version of King Arthur. He then took a starring part as the title anti-hero in Punisher: Warzone, along with big roles in The Book of Eli, G.I. Joe: Retaliation, HBO's Rome, and 3 of the MCU Thor films. Stevenson co-starred in the worldwide hit Indian movie RRR, and as Baylan Skoll in the Disney Plus Star Wars series Ahsoka, which debuted after his death.
And you are?
Mercenaries. Baylan Skoll and his apprentice, Shin Hati.
While spending time on the Italian island of Ischia in May 2023, Stevenson fell ill and was locally hospitalized. On May 21st, the actor's publicist told Variety that Stevenson died at age 58, 4 days before his birthday. Long before he'd become a celebrity in his 60s for helping to make ballroom-style dancing a viable and popular modern TV concept, Len Goodman was an accomplished dancer himself. The boisterous, verbose judge on the competition series Strictly Come Dancing and its American adaptation, Dancing with the Stars, won numerous ballroom dancing titles in the 1970s. With his wife, Cherry Kingston, he took home top rankings in the British Exhibition Championships, British Professional Rising Stars, and Duel of the Giants. Following the death of his father-in-law, dance studio operator Henry Kingston, Goodman took over that business and created the first Goodman Dance Academy. In November 2022, after serving on the Dancing with the Stars judges panel for 31 seasons, Goodman announced his retirement on air. Weeks after stepping away from television, he told the Daily Mail that he had a milestone age he strived to reach. "My dad had the right idea. He loved gardening and he had a stroke while he was out in the garden. He was 79, so if I go the way of my dad, that'll be next year." Goodman almost made it too. He died from the effects of bone cancer on April 22, 2023, 3 days shy of his 79th birthday. Betty White's story runs parallel to that of American television. In the 1950s, White headlined the early TV sitcom Life with Elizabeth. 2 decades later, she played TV personality Sue Ann Nivens on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, a role that won her 2 Emmy Awards. Over in daytime TV, White frequently appeared on Password and hosted Just Men. From 1985 to 1992, she starred in the mega hit The Golden Girls as the lovably naive Rose Nyland and picked up another Emmy. In the 2010s, White joined the sitcom Hot in Cleveland and hosted the prank show Off Their Rockers shortly after winning her 5th Emmy Award for hosting Saturday Night Live at age 88.
I'm 88 and a half years old, so it's great to be here for a number of reasons.
A month before White was set to turn 100 on January 17, 2022, Betty White, 100 years young, a birthday celebration was announced. The variety show would play in movie theaters on White's 100th birthday, and People magazine released 2 special Betty White-themed issues in advance of the day. By the time tickets had been sold and the People issues were on their way to newsstands, White had died at age 99. Her death occurred while she was asleep in her home in the Brentwood area of Los Angeles on December 31, 2021. A quintessential teen heartthrob, Tab Hunter was a much-photographed actor, musician, and celebrity in the 1950s and 1960s. Presented as a romantic lead and action hero, Hunter starred in popular dramatic films like Battle Cry, The Burning Hills, and The Girl He Left Behind. After that, he top-lined the 1958 film adaptation of the baseball Broadway musical Damn Yankees. That led to a short but successful run as a pop singer. In 1957, Hunter's Young Love went to #1 on the charts in the US and the UK. His career slowly faded, but in the 80s, the former star would re-emerge, playing hard against his clean-cut image with roles in the dark indie comedies Polyester and Lust in the Dust. Hunter's partner, Alan Glazer, informed The Hollywood Reporter that the actor died unexpectedly in Santa Barbara, California, after a blood clot triggered a heart attack. His death on July 8, 2018, occurred 3 days before he would have turned 87. A frequent, intense presence in both gritty horror movies and UK-produced period pieces, Julian Sands was also prolific. Sands earned a lot of attention for his work as journalist John Swain in the harrowing war drama The Killing Fields and as romantic freethinker George Emerson in A Room with a View. Concurrently, he acted extensively in scary stuff, including Gothic, multiple entries in the Warlock franchise, The Phantom of the Opera, Arachnophobia, as well as Mindbenders like Naked Lunch and Boxing Helena. He also provided his voice to a lot of animated series, including Jackie Chan Adventures and Biker Mice from Mars.
We are his Knights of the Round Table. At your service, my fairest of ladies.
After going for a solo hike on Mount Baldy in January 2023, Sands didn't return home. His family reported him missing on January 13th. A search and rescue mission was called off due to winter weather and picked back up in June 2023 when the actor's remains were discovered and conclusively identified. Sands headed into the wilderness right after he marked his 65th birthday. Herman Wouk was the rare type of author who could garner prestigious literary awards while also topping the bestseller chart with his epic works of historical fiction. After writing comedy bits for radio personality Fred Allen in the 1930s, Wouk served in the Navy during World War II and moved into novels. His third major work, the ship-based thriller The Caine Mutiny, won him the Pulitzer Prize for fiction, and was adapted into a hit movie starring Humphrey Bogart. Wouk's novels were often the basis for visual media. His sprawling, visceral World War II books, The Winds of War and War and Remembrance, were adapted into limited American television series. Wouk spent his final years in Palm Springs, California. He died at home in his sleep in May 2019. Still actively working on another novel at the age of 103, Wouk would have turned 104 just 10 days after he died. In the 1920s and 1930s, the New York Yankees dominated Major League Baseball. Its two biggest stars were power hitter Babe Ruth and the overall great Lou Gehrig. The latter led the Yankees to 7 World Series championships, while also being named the American League's most valuable player twice. In December 1939, he was voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. In June 1938, weeks before his 35th birthday, Gehrig worried his condition was deteriorating. He had suffered physical and neurological issues that made playing baseball considerably more difficult. He spent 6 days undergoing tests at the Mayo Clinic, and on June 19th, his actual birthday, doctors diagnosed Gehrig with a degenerative neurological disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. He continued to play, though he benched himself from the Yankees lineup in May 1939, ending a record-setting consecutive streak of 2,130 games. On June 3, 1941, almost exactly 3 years after receiving his diagnosis, he died a little more than 2 weeks before he would have turned 38 years old. In the world of soap operas, Billy Miller became a major star and acclaimed actor in a short period. In 2007, he began a year-long stint playing Richie Novak on All My Children, before jumping to The Young and the Restless to portray Billy Abbott for the next 6 years. Following his departure from that soap, where he won 3 Daytime Emmy Awards, Miller moved into primetime. He appeared on CSI, Major Crimes, Suits, and other shows. His last major work came as Alex Dunn, part of the main cast of the Apple TV Plus murder mystery Truth Be Told. Miller's manager told Variety that the actor died in Austin, Texas on Friday, September 15, 2023, diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Miller's mother told the Los Angeles Times that the actor, quote, surrendered his life to his mental health difficulties. News of his death reached media outlets on Sunday, September 17, 2023, which would have been the actor's 44th birthday. Lemmy Kilmister, known primarily by his first name, spent his entire adult life in the world of rock. After working as a roadie for Jimi Hendrix, he played in a few bands, including the popular progressive rock act Hawkwind, which threw him out because of his heavy substance abuse. Kilmister would go on to start Motorhead, named for a Hawkwind song he wrote. That group, which played in a loud, speedy, and chaotic style, would be a foundational heavy metal act. With Kilmister's guttural, raspy vocals leading the way, Motorhead recorded numerous hit records and is probably best known for the 1980 single Ace of Spades. On December 28, 2015, Motorhead posted on its official Facebook page, "Our mighty, noble friend Lemmy passed away today after a short battle with an extremely aggressive form of cancer." Kilmister had received his cancer diagnosis 2 days before his death. That news came 2 days after Kilmister turned 70 years old.